All right. Welcome to We Are Something Else, episode 121, Vogue cover. And we're back. It's your boy Kaleo. There's CB, there's E Rich. Fellas, what's good with you?
We're back.
Like we never left.
At it again.
Yeah. Thursday comes pretty fast these days. We are almost at the end of the year. We finally picked the date for our top five, the show that everybody looks forward to, that we all avoid because there's been such great music this year, and not to mention there's still albums to come because not that I'm expecting high things from it, but Ross drops at midnight. There's a couple other things, and then I think right now is the Ye concert going on? Was that
I think so.
9? Was that 9 Eastern or 9:30 Eastern? I couldn't remember.
It was something like that.
But it's probably streamable at this point. But CB, how was the week?
I mean, I went into the office twice, so that was a switch up from all that. So, because
how did it feel getting back out there?
I'm gonna tell you, I don't miss the morning commute. I don't miss the commute home. But I'll tell you, because Kaleo and mine's 9 to 5 we got a brand new office building that we're working out of, and it is pretty sweet. So like actually being there wasn't a problem. But the getting to and from that shit was dead. And it's one of those things where I know that even right now, it's not as bad as it's going to be in January because there's still plenty of people that aren't back at the office yet either.
Yep.
And, like there's also probably a lot of people that are still taking time off the same way I'm having to take some time off,
Yep. Did you keep your mask on in the office? Like how did you come to how did you figure all that out? How you been maneuver throughout the office?
So at least for the way that our office is set up is that in order for you to be able to come into the office, you're supposed to be fully vaccinated. So once I was actually on our floors, I wasn't too worried about being super masked up, but also where I was sitting was kind of away from other people. There wasn't a lot of people in there anyways.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really, chopping it up face to face with many people at all. So I always had, because I keep the neck gaiters generally, so I always had that with me regardless. So if I went somewhere besides our floors, I would put that on there. But since it wasn't the same as being like everyone back in there, it wasn't that big of a deal. I didn't feel like super pressured.
Got you. E, what's good, bro?
Yeah, I went in the office, I think it was last week, a few times, a couple of times. My boss flew down from Reno, so we met up and we had a couple of meetings that we needed to have. But funny enough, I mean, I've been in the office, at least more than a handful. With my situation, when we were locked down, overseas was popping, and when they started locking down, and we was back out. So, but no, the funny thing was like our mandate is, if you're in there by yourself and you don't have we have the kind of right before COVID happened, we literally were like doing renovations to all our locations to have the open concept. So it's almost like the 3 desk kind of pod, and then you have some in between another. So they say as long as there's like a pod between you and the next, you can have your mask off or whatever. Fortunately for me, I work in the SOC, so the security people, like, we have our own little kind of area by ourselves. And my boss, he ended up getting what we call like the little focus room that has a door. So he was like, "Yeah, don't take it personal. I'm just gonna be in the room because I don't feel like having my mask on all day." And I was like, "I don't feel like wearing mine either. I was gonna tell you to go in there anyway." So, you know what I mean? But no, I mean, and then the next day, the whole team did come in, which, unbeknownst to my boss, was not a good idea because he was like, "Yeah, that's the easiest way to wipe out a whole team is to have them all in at one time." Now, again, it was because that was the first time all of the techs and security had got in there at the same time, but they could have done that differently. But we just had a new update come down as far as how the year is about to happen, and it doesn't look like we're going back in January at all, let alone February. So
Wow.
uh,
Wow.
but it is what
Now,
it is.
so
Uh,
we don't have to dive too deep into this, but I think I tagged you guys in the IG post. I can't. It was a public official who had warned people not to come out to California, or I don't know if it was LA specific or California specific, and they said because it's like living in the purge out here. Now, that seems very opinionated in that statement, but how accurate or off is that statement? Would you say? E?
I mean, it's 50-50, maybe 60-40. So you got to play into account all the variables, right? It is holiday time, right? And this is last year when none of this happening because everybody was supposed to be in the house. Everybody, this is their first real kind of Christmas holiday that you're outside. You know what I mean? So outside without a lot of restrictions and rules. You know what I mean? Where you kind of just back out doing your thing. So a lot of people are, kind of are forgetting their P's and Q's. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yep.
as far as watching yourself and your surroundings. I mean, a lot of that, nothing you can really do about it because when they come through, they're going to come through. But for him to say that, I mean, you kind of get it. You kind of want the out of towners because that's really who kind of gets, it's easy to spot somebody who's not from here. And those are usually the typical targets. Now, again, them running up in stores and stuff like that, that's kind of new as far as just the frequency and how they're doing it. But other than that, hate to say it, what we just lost Slim 400. Now we already know what
I
that's
saw that.
about. That's also normal, Cali life. As in, just the other day we had a car chase. That's also normal Cali life. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta know your surroundings, know where you at, and walk accordingly.
Got you. Got you. All right, let's dive into it. There's a couple interesting things to rap about tonight. Start with this one. So, breaking news: the verdict did come in, and Jussie Smollett
No,
was
no, no,
found.
no, 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 no. Say his
Juicy
name
Small.
right.
You want to do
Juicy.
Juicy? Juicy
Juicy.
Smollett was found guilty of 5 out of 6 charges. Right,
Golly.
for making false reports in a hoax hate crime. Um, so which will be a class 4 felony on his record, and up to, if he's penalized, up to 3 years in jail, along with a not so hefty fine, considering he's probably got the money. But my thing is, well, how did we get here? How did it come to this? First of all, we all knew he was guilty. I mean, that Dave Chappelle broke it down in the joke on the special. Just after a certain, you felt bad at first, then you sat back to think about it, and things just didn't add up after a while. And now, like it got really intense. Like now the trial is here, so he's guilty. Okay, now we know this. Before I pose my questions, I'm going to narrate this just a little bit. So while he was on the stand, he said he had some interesting testimony. Well, one, let's kind of tie these two stories together. So CNN recently let Chris Cuomo go, one of their lead evening anchors. They let him go because his brother, former mayor of New York, Andrew, is currently on trial for sexually assaulting various women that he's come across. Right. So his brother Chris, who's in the media, was suspended at first, but then they dug deeper and they realized that he was using his power as a media resource to help his brother find a defense, or get his case together, which he can't do that. Call that conflict of interest. And so they fired him. So I say all that to say, because Juicy took the stand, and he threw Don Lemon under the bus. He said that Don Lemon had texted him saying, "Hey, feds aren't buying your story about a hate crime. Just giving you a heads up." Wow. So, I'm tying these two together here. Now, this is similar, but very different from the Como and Don Lemon thing. These are similar but different. Cuomo obviously was helping his brother, who's former governor, mayor, whatever. But then Don is just kind of giving a heads up and not really giving too much inside intel. I don't think it's the severity here. He just kind of threw him a solid here. So that's one. We'll get to that. Then also he made the testimony that him and one of the attackers, they had some sort of relationship together beforehand, right? They often went to those bathhouses and they did drugs together.
Leave it at that.
Talked. No, I mean this is graphic here, and they masturbated together. This is weird. Just all around weird. This just adds a whole nother layer to this whole story. And then on top of that, there is...
You say layer, you say lotion.
Both. The story is getting stickier. But on top of that, there is video footage of them rehearsing the attack the night before. So, let's go around the room. The two questions are, one, is the Don Lemon, I don't want to say the bone that he threw him, the helpful tip that he gave him, was Don Lemon's text to Jussie, is that the same as Chris' situation, and or this whole scenario, like, where does Jussie go from here? I'll let one of you guys decide who's gonna go first.
CB, you got this one first.
Sure. I'll tackle our buddy Jussie Smollett. Now I think it is a different situation when we're talking about the Don Lemon text and the Como situation, because for the, like, at least the way that the Don Lemon text has been presented to me, it doesn't necessarily suggest that he knew for certain that this was a story and this was, an act, but it's kind of like, hey, just letting you know that, yeah, they're not buying it. Because if it was as obvious to just the general public, you'd think it'd be obvious to the feds. Like, it's just kind of how that goes. But then this is kind of like a career defining situation for this guy, right? Like, we're not gonna remember what shows he was in necessarily. We're gonna remember him for this whole thing, like this whole what is what would Jada call this, a situationship or whatever it was, but nah. I think that he's probably, done as far as like being taken as a serious entertainer. But he's certainly not done as far as being the butt of a bunch of jokes. I'm sure that there's going to still be plenty of that.
Yeah, so many layers to this pause, or as you would say, lotions, in this situation. No, but, well, first of all, like you said, the Don Lemon text is just like, unless it came from like, and here's the thing, usually they say like, we have a press release, right? Like, it's something that they just get before it actually comes out anyway. So even if it was the press release that the FBI was going to say that we're going to look into this more because this shit ain't adding up, that's nothing. You know what I mean? Again, Dave Chappelle made it comedy, but the truth about it was he was saying how people were mad as if like we weren't behind him because of the situation. No, we weren't behind him because we knew it was full of shit. So
Right.
That's why we just, that's
a
why,
big difference.
That's why Jussie's in the situation that he's in. I mean, nothing added up. I swear you should have played the clip where like Dave Chappelle literally marks down the steps. So he said, let's break this down, like all the way down to the subway trip. Like, oh, you went to go get Subway
sandwiches?
at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like, really? In
Okay.
Chicago. Like, okay. But no, I like, as far as the text is, no issues with that. That's no different from being like, bro, like, hey, kind of heard like the boss is not feeling your review, bro, and it's everybody's gonna know it. Like, we know that you suck this year. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, there's no denying like what we're talking about. As far as his career, though, I don't. First of all, what was the show that he was on again?
Empire.
What was
This actually
Empire?
feels like an Empire episode.
But is that outside of that? Like, I mean, I stopped watching after a certain time, but he's always kind of been. You can tell that he was looking for the limelight. The reference to him being the gay Tupac, just rubbed everybody in the industry wrong. It was like, that's not the platform for you to take that on. There's so many ways that he just kind of tipped the scale, and you know, at the end of the day, this is no different from any other, and I label it this, an actor that really wanted to get more than what he was really due for. He tried to get more than 15 minutes of fame, and he's about to get it. Except it's going to be behind bars with one of his buddies that he likes to go to bathhouses with.
Yeah. I mean, I think the interaction between him and Don and Chris and his brother are definitely different situations. I don't know. From here, I think his career, he's probably going to disappear for a while. Like there's really no coming back from this. Will he do jail time? Maybe not. The what I read was most likely probation. I don't know if they're going to push for more than that. But from there, nobody's going to want to touch this guy with a 10-foot pole. You know, just with all the drama that's involved with him, right? So nobody's going to want that. So, but
Question,
you know,
question off of that, because we all know like his sister is still in the industry, right? Do you think this hurts her ability to get work?
Absolutely not, because she's actually talented. She's got the chops, she's got the skill level, she's got the resume from childhood all the way up. And a lot of people forget that he was in Mighty Ducks. He was one of the brothers in Mighty Ducks.
I forgot that.
The very first one. Very first one. Him and
really
Brandon Jackson.
Get off of that.
Well, I'm just saying he's been around for a while, but that he had, he doesn't have the chops that the sister does.
Word.
Right. No, the reason why I asked it. No, my bad to cut you off. The reason why I asked that question because I felt like the follow up to what we were saying as far as both of them receiving whatever, right? Whatever information is. Look at the scale that, like, let's just be honest. Chris on CNN was a bigger star than Jussie Smollett was, right? So, is he done? Like, is he ever going to be in front of a camera? Is he going to be because clearly we know where his brother's at with that, right? Like that's you're not coming back from that, right? You as an electing official going down that turn, there's no coming back from that. But what we're talking about, Chris is being fired for helping his brother out because he had the sensitive information that could have helped his brother not go to jail, or at least not be as bad as it seems, right? So my question is, him being a CNN public figure in that limelight, I mean, you're talking about millions of people watch CNN.
He'll bounce back.
Could he do it right? So can he get a spinoff of this different than what we're talking about? Jussie's not going to be able to work no more in the industry.
Yeah. I think with Chris, while the case is going on, you probably won't see him again. And he's probably going to do the whole book thing. He'll write a book. But while his brother's case is happening, he'll probably disappear in the background. And then eventually somebody will pick him up because he was one of the lead anchors in the evening. And for ratings, he's a good journalist. It's not like he sucked at his job. He just did some stupid shit that ended up coming back to bite him in the ass. So somebody will pick him up. I mean, there's been other people that have gotten second chances for worse.
We'll see. I mean, if he does get that second chance, it's going to be some time because he already lost a book deal and some other sponsorship. There was at least recent news was he was losing that stuff. So yeah, I'm sure that somewhere down the line, because also Como has he's got the benefits of the WP. So he's got at least more of a chance. It's still not a guarantee, but compared to Jussie, he's definitely got more of a chance because it's built in.
Right. Yeah. DNA. And now for the TNRH segment of the story of this week. If you don't know what that means, I say it all the time. This ninja right here. So, Amar Shabazz of Maryland. Me and CB's backyard, right?
Damn it.
He was arrested for selling fake vaccination cards. Now, I still to this day don't understand why people will go through the trouble of buying a piece of paper for $75 plus to say that they were vaccinated than rather get a free one when they go get vaccinated. Now we got a couple of NFL players that are in trouble because that are guilty of buying. I don't know if they bought it from Amar Shabazz or not, but let's break this story down.
He was the one supplying AB.
Yeah, let's just break this story down a little bit. He purchased the cards from a foreign online marketplace. Then he went on social media and posted, "Got vaccine cards. Who want one? $75 a pop. I sell vaccine cards. Made 300 today. Sold out. Just bought 500 more." He posted these things about his lucrative business. So, and let's peel back some more layers. So this crime, this life of crime doesn't just come out of anywhere. And apparently he was released in April. He served time for child pornography. So this is this we're getting to the meat and potatoes of all this. But anyway, so what happened was how they started catching on to him. They seized Border Patrol seized one of his packages. He Googled it as customs inspecting packages for vaccine cards. So they're already on to him at this point. Then from there, he ordered more under a different alias, same cell phone number, and at that point, FBI came and raided his house. Now, this isn't the Black Business Series kind of guess we would have on. But I just don't get it. One, people are, and not that it matters, but I would want to know personally if this guy's vaccinated himself. Because to me, people who are selling these cards,
You lose him? I lost him.
vaccinated as well. You don't want to get vaccinated. You sell them because you don't want to get vaccinated, and there's other people out there like you. So let's go around. Who wants to go first?
I just because I don't really have much on this dumb shit other than dumb shit. Like, let's make it more obvious of how somebody can figure out what I'm doing. First of all, I don't know his age, but I can definitely tell you by the everything that you told me that he was not born in the 80s. He definitely might be born late 90s, 2000s, because anybody from my era knows that, first of all, you do not post the link. You do not give them even, like, that's the most hush-hush. Like, why am I going to tell everybody I got these cards that clearly I'm seeing other people on the news go down for federal crime at that? You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just be real. So I don't really have nothing to say. He's a dumbass, and he deserves every bit of time that he's going to get, and whoever else is doing it too.
This is ridiculous, man. Like, he's probably gonna get a lot of time. I hope I'm not misquoting, but I think there was a potential for like 40 years or something silly like that.
Yeah, about 40 years.
That's crazy. Like, but it's just, he is the ideal criminal for the police. Like, this dude is just out here posting his business just on the internets, like on the Google machine for everyone to see, just it's one of the candidates for world's dumbest criminal, or at least Maryland's dumbest criminal. That's for sure. Because
Right.
it's embarrassing that it also is from the backyard. That's really embarrassing.
Now I want to say
Like,
real quick, there's a couple people I follow on IG as well that have posted questions. Where can I get vaccination cards from?
it's a setup. Don't even answer. Don't even respond. Matter of fact, probably shouldn't even be friends with them no more. Like, let's take it back to MySpace. Don't even be friends with them no more, right? Guilty by association. Crazy part about all this, I made this comment before, and I know we've talked about it, but wholeheartedly, if I'm gonna do a crime that I know I'm probably gonna do sometime, like, at least let me stack the money and hide the shit out of it so that when I do come out, it was at least worth the fucking time. He's going to jail and he didn't better his life. He didn't better his family's life. He's like, it was all for what?
$300.
Come on, man.
Yeah, no. But I just don't get it. I mean, we've got a couple NFL players who are guilty of this. And again, this is a serious. Not getting the vaccine is not a crime. If you choose not to, that's fine. It's when you start perpetrating and living the lifestyle that you did is the issue, and presenting false documentation, like Antonio Brown and a couple other guys did. They went out their way. Well, Antonio's situation is he's just as dumb, because if you're going to do the crime, at least pay the guy who's doing it so he won't snitch on you. You can't have an outstanding debt to a guy that's helping you commit a crime. So,
Also, a person who's really bad at being a criminal. Really, really terrible at being a criminal.
Yep. Go. Would you say, CB? My bad.
No, it was just it's just such a silly situation, man. And
Yeah, absolutely.
it's embarrassing that it is.
Do they cut him? You don't think they cut him?
Nah, they suspend him for some games because, again, that's it. And to be honest, Aaron Rodgers was the poster child for that, right? Because they couldn't go above and beyond what they did to him. You know what I'm saying? Because of how he presented himself. So, a couple of games, it is what it is. It's just crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess what this all comes back down to. And again, I know it's gonna sound funny, right? But everything we talked about tonight is in correlation to somebody snitching still. Somebody told somebody about somebody else. It's all about, it's like, why would you tell people the stuff that you're doing? You know what I'm saying? Like, close or not, like, this is exactly what it is. Watch the first 48.
Like and subscribe if you're new to the show. I got a couple new folks. Like and subscribe. Hey, look, we appreciate you coming to sit in. Now, one of the comments mentioned the word savage, right? And this next story has got to be the most savage shit I've ever heard in my entire life. Savagery. So, in Chicago, a rival gang went to, let's say, an enemy's funeral, and stole the casket from the funeral in front of everybody. That is, I've never even seen that in a movie. I wouldn't even think in my mind or contemplate that would be something that could happen. But there's a video of at least 15, 20 people going into a funeral and walking out with the casket. My question is, what are you going to do with it? And two, like, is this not the most gangster shit you ever heard of in your entire life? Who's up first?
Bro, like, this makes me think of those like high school pep rally, gotta like play a trick, on the rival high school
Right.
before the big game. Like that's what this reminds me of, like stealing the mascot and doing all that. Um, but I guess this is Chicago, man. Like if you had told me that this was happening somewhere in, Wyoming, I'd be like, I'd be shocked. But, the fact that this is Chicago, bro, I
They
guess,
they literally stole the casket like those flash mobs are stealing stuff out of Neiman Marcus.
yeah.
They just trampled the scene, took the goods, and walked out.
I mean, again, not to be the resident. Well, I got to be the resident West Coaster, right? But unfortunately, back in the day, uh, it got a little sketchy. It got a little like the word savage is kind of it would be light in terms of like when '90s when the games was like super hard, right? And you had cats shooting up the funeral of the dude they already killed because they knew that there was other gang members there. I mean, we've had them actually go to the cemetery and literally was on some like I'm gonna shoot him even though he's already dead type deal because of the rivalry that was going on and how hard that was at the time. Like it was a real like you talking when they said when the dude got on the camera and said don't come to LA because we can't guarantee your safety. Real talk, the last time I heard that was when in the '90s when the games was going that hard and you just should not have been in certain locations because even the cops was like, we outnumbered. Ain't nothing we can
That's
do
tough.
about it. Like
that is tough.
I mean,
I
but you
can't.
talking about church? You talking about them shooting up churches, bro?
But
Or like,
I thought churches were sacred grounds, and I thought like mamas was sacred. Like when it comes to
I
that, I
mean,
thought, man,
again, that's the OG, like rule book. You know what I'm saying? Code that again. Once you got the loose cannon that goes off the hinges and does whatever, and that's how again not to go into that culture but that's how you had so many sets then created off of the normal ones that was out here because you had the knuckleheads that was like we gonna do it our own way, that old way don't work, and there was so much that was involved in it that you had inner fights within the same colors. So again you would just have that, but again you got, and that's where that whole situation came with drive-bys and there was a misconception that that was done only by gangs and they had limited us, the gangs were only blacks when really there was the Mexicans and everybody else that was still getting it in. But again, that was news back then. So savagery, yes, to take that, but I've also seen that shit like overseas somewhere or like Brazil or like some foreign ass country. They just like bro, like I don't know what y'all doing, but he ain't going in the dirt. We got something else planned for him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do you do with it? You holding the body hostage, like ransom, like literally, like I mean, I can't imagine. Like this was like Rent a Center. Rent a Center is not that savage. If you're renting the casket till you pay for it, and you're late on your bill, they're not gonna come and they're not gonna take the casket back. Like this is at this point, it's already done. Like homie is passed away. I mean, they are celebrating his life or her life at this point in front of their family and friends, and you have no regard for that. That is absolutely crazy.
I
But
want to know how a rivalry gets to that point, you know?
exactly, how do we get
Whose
there?
mama got, made fun of, who got skipped in the lunch line, what is it that you get to a point where it's like, nah, we're rolling up on the funeral and we're stealing the casket? Because you're right, like what are they gonna do with it? They got someone in the clan that was gonna stuff them and they're gonna use them as a prop in the clubhouse. Like,
I
what's the
mean,
point? What are you gonna do?
only thing I could think of, but it would. I'm not going in. I'm not bringing no casket out. As if the person was buried in a pair of sneakers at Wins that I didn't get, and we were the same size. I'm just taking the shoes. I'm leaving everything else in there for the soul. That's all I got to say. So real quick, I didn't kind of put this in the notes, but Great TV happened this past week. I don't know if you guys had a chance to watch a good live sitcom in a while, but they redid Facts of Life with Gabrielle Union, Jon Stewart, like Jason Bateman did a surprise appearance, and some other like kind of celebrities in tribute to the Facts of Life, and it was really good. But then Different Strokes came on right afterwards, and they had Kevin Hart played Arnold, Damon Wayans played Willis, John Lithgow right here played Mr. Drummond, and Snoop made an appearance. It was good TV, just good classic live TV. Hadn't seen anything like that in a while. It was funny, so very entertaining. And then also, if you have not seen True Story on Netflix yet with Kevin Hart and Wesley Snipes, it's a 7-part series, and it is, I'm going to use the word phenomenal because it gives you a different side of Kevin Hart, and then just for 7 episodes you're engulfed in just what's happening here. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. We are going to talk about it. I don't know, have you guys watched it yet?
I haven't, but it's in the queue.
Okay.
No, I haven't done my homework either.
Okay, so 7 episodes. They're like 30-minute to 45-minute episodes. Easy binge. And after the first episode, you're like really engulfed because you be like, you want to know what the hell is going on because a lot of shit happens in the first episode. All right. So, and CB, you got a long weekend to kind of prepare for it. And also, what you can do as you prepare for the long weekend, look, DC Shop High. You knew it was coming. Everybody knew it was coming. CB, say, why not use your own code and save 10% on a pizza for yourself this weekend?
Good deal.
You know the code, CB, WRSC10. You can get yourself a Chicago deep dish pizza, CB. I don't know if you had the steak and cheese yet. I know you had the sausage and pepperoni.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's also salmon pesto if you're feeling, a little healthy, kind of savory kind of deep dish. It's amazing. But, if that's too much for you, why not just, CB, grab yourself a flat. Get yourself the Georgetown, which is like a Euro pizza, Euro gyro. Get yourself the big chair, the fried chicken and mambo sauce. Or if you just want, a little dessert afterwards, just you worked out, you've been doing good all week, get yourself some of the drop the bomb bread pudding. You got a long weekend ahead of you. Why not, right?
Way to celebrate.
Yeah, exactly. So DC Shop High, save 10%. The official pizza that we are something else podcast. All right, what you got?
Well, hopefully the new people that tapped in are still in the chat.
I hope so.
Would love for them to chime in on this. I know that. So again, I was gonna go with the holiday theme, but I'm going to save that one for next week. This week, again, because I'm a foodie. I can't remember who it was released by, but every year they do the who has the best X, Y, and Z, right? And from my understanding, Chick-Fil-A has won the best chicken sandwich again. They have a couple of championships, you know what I'm saying, notched on their belts for the best.
It beat Popeyes.
It beat Popeyes.
Wow. Okay.
I think the craze of the Popeyes chicken was just like at it, like that window of time. Yeah. Everybody still goes to Chick-fil-A on a regular basis, even though absolutely. That they're not open on Sundays. You still accidentally try to go to Chick-fil-A because you know that you want it on Sunday, but they're not open on Sunday.
Okay.
So anyway, got me to thinking, right? Chicken is it's a sensitive subject, right? The yard bird is a sensitive subject when it comes to food, right? I'm a big believer of, eating all your food, They had this thing on IG where it had the different segments of, right, the chicken wing, right? It was like a little bit of bites, couple of bites, then it was like damn near all the way down to the gristle was gone, right? Just getting it in. But it led me to this segment right here, though. In order for you to understand this, you have to identify what is a chicken wing, right? A chicken wing got a bone in it. Pause all day long, whatever you want to call it, right? As soon as you remove that bone and you serve that piece of chicken, that is not a boneless wing. That is a motherfucking nugget, okay? Because what is a nugget when you go order it from McDonald's? It's chicken with no bone. When you ask for it, why would you say a boneless wing? What is a boneless wing? It is chicken without a bone. Therefore, it is a nugget. You don't say, let me get a chicken tender without the bone in it. So, is it just E? Is everybody who says boneless wings, they're just eating nuggets. And if you think it's anything different, you're out your rabbit ass mind.
I don't know. I think the cut is a little different. I mean, it just depends. So then, what the hell is a tender? What's the difference between a tender and a nugget? Right.
First, well, pause the size, if you will, right? But here's the problem, right? If you order, when you order at Chick-Fil-A, you order the nuggets, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't look like the nuggets at McDonald's because we've been pre-exposed to what a nugget was supposed to look like from McDonald's since we was birthed, right? Right? At birth, it was supposed to be a round shape and have like the best form ever. But then all of a sudden, you went to a restaurant,
a boot or like a circle,
right? But then you went to a restaurant and you had some boneless wings, and them shits look like nuggets on, like literally nuggets on your plate. Then you hit the chicken tenders when you got a little older. But again, when you fall back, when you go to restaurants or you go to locations, nuggets have all shapes and forms. So how is it that it's a boneless wing
now,
if the nugget's gone?
Look, these are just me asking the questions. Now, could a boneless wing have more batter or coating around the chicken meat itself than a nugget? Now think about all the nuggets you've seen and had, from the Wendy's to the McDonald's, and then think about the boneless wings you may have had, and it's a more of a crunchier, crisp coating around the meat itself.
So let me ask you a question. Since you want to go there, and I was hoping that
breaking it down. Ways.
I appreciate that. So do me a favor. How do they remove the bone from the wing that creates more chicken than it was before?
I mean,
I think it's witchcraft. I think that's actually how they do it.
Sounds like it.
And we just got out of, the Halloween season and everything like that. So it could be. I mean, I love referring to boneless wings as chicken nuggets. I love doing that. I think that shit is hilarious and it's accurate. And to defend tenders, the tenderloin is actually a piece of the chicken, so that's where the tenders name comes from.
Yep.
But yeah, all these things really are chicken wings by another name. Nuggets by another name. It's in the beer industry, you've got stouts and you have porters. Technically, they're the exact same thing. And if you ask brewers, well, then how do you choose what to call your specific beer? It's whichever one sounds better with the name of it. So if you have, Phillips Porter, that might sound better than saying Phillips Stout or something like that. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
Makes
sense.
Like so, sometimes it might just sound better to call it a boneless wing when we all know nuggets aren't just for kids. But if maybe that's how they're dressing it up. They're trying to dress up a kid food for adults when we know what the deal is.
Gotcha. I will say, If you haven't had Arby's boneless wings that they added to the menu, they're pretty freaking phenomenal. You got the hot honey and you got the buffalo. Me and Chuck Claggett have been known to fuck up some boneless wings from different places. And then I think a couple weeks ago we actually got some from Arby's. That was actually pretty good. But
Shout out to Arby's.
I mean, no, your points are very valid. I'm not here to argue it. I thought the Is It Just Eat was going to be the preference. What do you prefer? The boneless wing or the wing with the bone? And I mean, it just depends. But I get your point. So yeah, now I just got to make sure I get some boneless wings tomorrow.
Probably gonna send a trolling picture to the chat and everything.
That part. Shout out to moms for understanding what I was getting at.
She gets it. She got it. Look, where are we? Oh, right here.
Hey, real quick, before you pass it off to CB or CB before you go, I just have, first of all, shout out to the Washington football team for the W. It was what I called it. We know how to end the game properly. But I would just go ahead and like to take this time to officially say from the bottom of my heart that the Los Angeles Lakers are some trash, and also the Las Vegas Raiders are garbage. That's all. I just wanted to say
Lakers
that.
losing?
They lost.
To
just took
Memphis?
an L to Memphis.
Without Ja.
Don't get me started, bro. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
CB.
All right, so we're at the Soul Swap segment where we got to keep the family up to date with some of the news that's going on in the sneaker industry. And The Hill had a article where they talk about how last year there was $70 billion generated in sneaker sales, and the vast majority of that money is not going to black owned businesses and things like that. Like, there are not a lot of black owned sneaker shops. There's not a lot of minority owned shops like that in general. The boutiques, it's just a not as common occurrence. And this goes deeper to it becoming harder for people of color to get like small business loan applications and things like that. So it was an interesting article because actually the head of social status, James Whitner, he talked about how it's kind of like a white boys club, and the name of their shop used to be, it was like Flava Kicks or something like that. It was a more urban sounding name. He changes the name, and he basically was like, yo, it's crazy how much more business we do or have done. And think about it, they've dropped some of the best dunks of the year. So it was interesting to have those points of view from someone who is in the industry and can speak to it. But what do you guys think about the opportunities for people that have a darker skin complexion, a different type of maybe accent or how they talk, being able to have a slice, being able to actually operate some of these shops and everything that we talk about and that us ourselves will frequent from time to time,
Good. You want it?
Yeah. It's really disheartening because this is that one thing that really ties us all together, kind of like music. You know what I mean? Like, these are the things that shouldn't have. The only color that we're worried about is the colorway of the shoes. You know what I'm saying? Not the color of the skin of the person who's selling them, reselling them, whatever the case may be.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if we want to go there, we can take it back to, Chad's mother with the credit card, and how that usually is where they feed off of their homeboys. Their homeboys then start their business. They start, they branch off. So you're already behind trying to catch up to everybody who has the funding for that. And also, let's just be honest, and maybe Clay will touch bases on this. Like, you know, for us, we've always been the buyers. We've already discussed it. Like, you know, the black community buys the most, right? And we don't have. We're just now starting to learn and starting to turn the wheel of owning and creating the business. So rightfully so. I don't think we had too many representations of actual us who wanted to actually be in the business and not necessarily was doing it for the actual buying of, you know, the product. So yeah, but still, at the end of the day, you know, the sneaker community is never about the color of the skin. It's about the what's on your foot, and it's just amazing how you can see the respect of just seeing somebody's shoes and understanding that that's what ties us together. So
Yep, agreed. I think um, it all boils down to the access thing. You know, and you're absolutely right. We are the biggest consumers of a lot of these things because the marketing schemes for, you know, it's got to be the shoes. You know, I want to be like Mike. You know, the run DMC with the laceless Adidas. Like the sneaker culture has always been there in some form or fashion for us. And I think maybe Stephon Marbury may be the only one to kind of own the rights to his Starbury collection, which is only found in China, by the way. It was here for a second, but now only found in China. But we've been the face of a lot of these companies to generate the sales, but we're never given the access to own. Now, I don't know how far Jumpman is or what Jordan. Jordan is probably at the point where he he's probably in the ownership conversation, right? Um, but like you said, boutiques, CB. There's a lot of like in Georgetown. There are a couple of sneaker boutiques, and they'll hire people of color because it's not just black. There's a couple of other races in there that work. There again, there are no colors when it comes to sneakerheads except colorways, right? So, but they're not owning it. You know, it's just and especially not in Georgetown. So I would love to see more access to these things, but you know, now are we still like major shoe chains? I think are beginning to fade away. Like your Foot Locker, those things. Like the sneaker boutiques are the places because a lot of people like to do resale and buy the used shoe game, and you can't get that with Foot Locker. So the it's there for us to take now. Just can we have the access to it? Can we get the inventory? Right. This is kind of where Kanye started preaching about, you know, the access to the materials to create. Now we just lost a huge design, representation in the sneaker community or just fashion culture in Virgil, and we just can we get to the other side of it though? We can create, but can we get to the other side of it? I would like to see us get to that side eventually. It might come. Who knows?
For sure.
All right, CB, what we got for that copper drop?
So generally at the end of the year, Jordan, Yeezy, Adidas, they have some of their bigger releases, or a lot of times it's retros. Adidas is bringing back the Beluga colorway for the 350 V2. They're doing it reflective. Certainly one of those OG Yeezy 350 V2 colorways that a lot of people went ape over when they first dropped. So standard Yeezy pricing, I want to say 220 for the 350 V2s. It's normal stuff. These are dropping on December 18th. The Yeezy Supply I know is doing a drop, and I'm sure that there's probably going to be other ways to secure a pair. I've heard there's a lot of pairs. There's going to be a lot of pairs, which for me, I just want to be able to get the shoe. So for me, these I will definitely be trying to cop whenever Yeezy brings back any of those older colorways when they did the Wave Runners a couple of times, when they brought the zebras back, when they brought back like the black and reds. Like I'm always going after that stuff, because you might say that at least with the Adidas run, this is some of Kanye's most popular works. So for me, these are a cop. What do you guys think?
Cop for sure. First of all, these shoes are super comfortable, no matter, like, outside of like them looking amazing, they're super comfortable, and the mesh or netting material that the shoe is pretty much made out of feels good on your the upper part of your foot. Then the bottom part is all Boost, right? So it's good.
Yep.
And then the colorways for I love this colorway. It's a cop. I'm hoping that one day they'll bring back that Volt colorway with kind of the
Yeah.
It kind of had like the brown kind of gum bottom, partial gum bottom sole.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, these are definitely a cop. I think Confirm might have them too.
Yeah, you might be right.
And the good thing about Yeezy and Adidas, they put pairs out throughout the year. Like, you always have an opportunity to get Yeezys, which is amazing, which is a good thing for sneaker culture.
Yeah.
What? When's the drop date for this again?
I believe it's the 18th.
Yep.
It is a 50-50 cop and drop.
Do you own a pair of Yeezys?
I do.
Okay.
The ones that I do have, geez Louise, I think they were they're like the white. They're the white, but then they have like that off gray on the for the line, if you will. My thing, and this is just me, so I didn't initially catch the wave of the Yeezy of this one. I was definitely a pro of his Nike silhouettes over Adidas initially. And not to knock the shoe, because everybody's like, yo, it's a comfortable ass shoe. And I'm like, that's cool. I'm not going to wear it just because it's a comfortable ass shoe, because if that's the case, we all be out here wearing Cloud Kickers or, you know what I'm saying, New Balance, dad joints, right? So
I got those too.
Facts. The thing about it is, for me, it's always been the colorway. You know what I mean? And as simple as I am, you know what I mean? If it didn't ride in what I probably had, then I wasn't gonna go for it. I definitely wanted the pair that I can rock on multiple occasions and actually get my 220 worth. Because again, it was a hype for it at the time,
For
and
sure.
I really wanted it. I wanted it to be something that when I came around, that it was on my terms, and it was like, I'm only gonna cop the colorways that I want, because like I said, he damn near hit the Virgil, and it was just like, it's like 400 colorways, and I just changed this and that, you know what I mean? But the Boost is still dope at the end of the day.
Yep.
And then he got into the basketball side of it. It's dope all around. What we got? Shoe and tell. I can go first. So we're kind of on a theme here, because I'm currently cleaning out the back sneaker room studio. I'm doing my decluttering phase of clothes. Yes, some shoes. There's a stack of shoes out in the family room, along with some in the bag that I'm giving away. But then also, by me doing this, I'm finding shit that I forgot I had, that I may have only worn once, haven't worn it all. So I'm trying to rearrange, like when people do their winter to spring clothes, they just kind of shuffle things around, so what you need is at the top. So anyways, we'll start with this. Found these around Thanksgiving time. I forgot I had them. And we know with your J's, you got to wear your J's. So these are the 1991s. I also have a Hillman College Dwayne Wayne jersey to match this. But and it almost feels like the Armand Manier kind of colorway.
Mm-hmm.
But just some basic old sixes. I'm not a huge fan of white shoes, but with the 5, you really can't. With the 6, you really can't go wrong.
Some of those majority white colorways are
dope. Yeah, it depends.
Yeah.
All right, who's up?
I got you because I know CB's gonna bring it home, of
Close it
course.
out. Okay.
Right. But no, even with those, I was with you on the white sixes because when they came out with the infrared sixes,
Yep.
I was skeptical at first, but like it's just something about that infrared. Like I think it's
Right.
you got to hit it with that secondary color that'll make you get that. I think I told you guys about this one. I know, like Clay, I think you said at first sight you weren't really probably wasn't a colorway that you probably would like, and I was kind of with that until I seen them in person, and I realized in person they look a hell of a lot better, and it really kind of got me to be like, I'm not upset with these,
I'm
and
starting
to
to
be
see
honest
more of
with you,
those floating around too.
and to be honest with you, I think it's for me what really hit it was the fact that the check is more silver. And I know at first you said like that's not what you like. I feel like if it would have been a gray, if it would have been like a solid gray that didn't have any kind of kick to it, then the shoe would have been boring all the way around. I think the silver kind of brings the shoe out, and therefore, like I said, you can kind of hit these with multiple things. I know Be Easy, if he was on the line, I know he's probably got an outfit already set up for this. You know what I mean? But so when I got it, I was like, I should probably just watch it Be Easy and figure out what he put with this and see which way I can go with it. But
Right.
you know, even still, can't go wrong with having one of these in the collection. And I think the colorway, again, if a lot of people weren't checking for them, it's how I make the heat look on the foot. So
Yep. Okay.
Because we know it's not the shoe bringing the best out of you. You got to bring the best out of the shoe.
Absolutely.
So,
nice.
I don't remember if I had shown these ones yet. This is a very familiar
Yeesh.
box, but
Yeesh.
these are the Blazer Lows, the British tan ones. And they've been he just and the reason why I wanted to bust these out is because they just did a few drops with Cause as like
Yep.
an additional collaborator, and it's like, I mean, these guys are just hitting on all cylinders at the moment. So,
Jeez.
you know, double tongue action, all the double stuff. I've worn these, so you know these have gotten some tread, super comfy. Like it's like the same foam that's in the tongue is like what's in the ankle liner and everything.
Nice.
So a traditionally uncomfortable, I would say, like all day type shoe, you know, with the modern technology and everything that they're doing with, especially with the collabs and the materials, you can definitely get away with rocking this, you know, for
Dope.
much longer than an old original pair of Blazers.
That's dope.
That was my concern with those was those get like a good couple hours and you'd be like, all right, gotta go to the crib and swap them out because
Right.
this ain't gonna rock for the whole
Which
day.
isn't bad when you know you just have stuff to rock.
Right.
Like if you're just like, yeah, I'm just gonna bust out 3 pairs today because I can. I'm gonna run 3 different errands and I'm gonna flex in 3 different ways. Some people do that, but you know, it is nice to just be able to put on a pair and know that you're just good for the rest of the day.
Right. So we want to thank everybody for joining in. All the newcomers, like, subscribe the episode in itself. Like, subscribe to the page. Kind of want to close out with something that I didn't bring up in the less rap segment, just because it's probably a good closer. But this week, you know, a guy that we kind of clown here and there on the show just because of the situation of what you know the very situations that he's put himself in. It's just a funny story to talk about, and that's Nick Cannon, right? But I don't know if you guys have been paying attention on what Nick put out there and opened on his show like 2 days ago. No one was aware. He walked into work and what was on his heart, what he'd been dealing with personally, but then in front of his audience, you know, he showed a picture of his kid and the mother of his child and him. And he went into telling the story about, you know, how the last 5 months or so of his kid's life that, you know, little dude had been kind of dealing with a lot from, having fluid on the brain, which turned into more and progressed during Thanksgiving to like a form of a tumor, brain cancer kind of thing, and ultimately passing away. And just to see, first of all, past seeing, to feel that story, to feel it, whether you're a parent or not, you just feel, because I mean a 5-month-old is just as is nothing but innocence in this world, and when you see a picture, you're just like, wow, like so much more life to live, and just innocence. I think that what the word when you look at it is innocence, because he didn't ask for any of that. Baby Zen didn't ask for any of that. But then as a parent, you look at Nick and you're like, wow, how are you being able to put this on right now? Like, how are you able to deal with it? I mean, and I think he's dealing with it beautifully. I mean, like, he's very open and vulnerable and doing it in public to where he has the support and not behind the doors. So that aspect, I gotta respect this whole situation, and I feel for it. So definitely thoughts and prayers for Nick and his family. It's tough. That's something no one ever wants to bear or go through. But just, really, when I watched the clip that went viral, I was like, wow, like I felt it before I saw it. So, but I just, wrap your arms around your loved ones, and you just never know what other people are dealing with, even if they are celebrities. And then even like somebody like Nick Cannon, who's easy to make fun of, like we are, like we do, or people do, but he can take it. And that's what he's kind of been doing last couple of days. He knows that he's always been kind of like maybe not the cornball of the situation, but people always talk about him, and he's made light of that. I guess to help cope through all this. But that's just tough story. But just he'll get through it, and he has the right people to get through it with. But that's just tough to think about.
And just always remember, it doesn't cost anything to be kind. So
Absolutely.
we're all we're all humans. We're all in this together. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, it's one of those, like, everyone loves to joke, and humor and comedy is something that I think the world probably needs even more of.
Mm-hmm.
Just with how low things have gotten. But yeah, definitely, want to send all the good vibes and thoughts and prayers out that way, because you don't want to see, regardless of stature, you don't want to hear about someone losing a child. That's
Absolutely.
the worst, man. Every everyone on the show, all we're all about those babies, man. We want to see the next generation succeed and be better than we were. So that's always tough to hear.
Absolutely.
Just got to be here for one another, like just like you said, the simple stuff like that, or just checking in when you don't know like what the other person is dealing with. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of find that out. Just just sending a text to one of my homies that went through a rough patch, and just the text alone was enough for him to be like, you've always reached out to me even when I wasn't doing my best. You know what I'm saying? And you still believed in me. So it's those little small things, bro, that get us through. Because we talk about it, we get on here and talk about our tough days because we have the platform to, and we all are on the same page as far as like any one of us is down. We already know whatever we need. The other two, we got you. So
Absolutely.
that's just what
Yep.
we got to keep doing and keep spreading it, bro.
Yep. All right, y'all. Back next week. We have something else.
Peace.